Hey everybody, it's Andy. Welcome to Live Office Hours Thursday. Great to be here. Great to have you. Get in the chat, say hi. Let me know where you're from, what you need. Put some question marks in front of your questions. Let's go. I got my chat popped open. Evelyn, thank you for that wonderful anniversary wish. Let me see. I think that's the first one. Kara, let me know if Evelyn Jason, our boot campers are on top. Tonka from China, great to have you. Daryl Newman, celebrating first anniversary of being laid off from my last job. No! Dismal job search stats. Well, you know what? You're in luck because we've got my job search challenge 5 days in a row live with me starting November 18th. So I would expect that you will be front and center and first online for those programs too. All of you, check the schedule for that. We're on, that's the first one I say, okay. We're on, I'm actually doing a special little thing for you guys because I want to make sure you get scooted in the right direction for this time of year where there's lots of opportunities that surface now between November and February. So starting on Monday, November 18th, I'm doing an every day of the week live show, and we're going to be building on that job search challenge. There was a video that I just released on Tuesday, and that video was about a half an hour, 36 minutes or something like that, where I took you through the challenge, and I talked about what I wanted you to do to generate interviews and some of the obstacles that you're gonna need to overcome. What we're going to do in the special event is I'm going to give you the challenge again. We'll kind of recap it, talk about the psychology of this and why it works and all that good stuff. I'll give you the challenge on the first day. And then what I'm going to do each day of the week is we're going to take a deeper dive into the challenge components, how to generate the right company list, how to find the people, what to say to them. So a little bit more about what those messages should look like as you contact them. And then on Friday, we're going to have a kind of a recap of the challenges and how to overcome them. So if you want to get a good running start on that, check out the video that I just released the other day and actually start the challenge. And then you'll be a week in or so, and then you can come to the event. And it's not always at the same time throughout the day. So you need to, some of the days are at 11 o'clock my time, some of the days are at 1:30. I couldn't make them all at the same time that week, but just check the page and make sure to opt in. So you get the lessons, you get the workbook that goes along with it that I'm putting, actually it's just about done, a workbook together where you will be able to take notes for the entire 5 days. I have some inspirational quotes in the workbook and some other things. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So Daryl Newman, hopefully you'll be there. Sabah, I think that's how you say your name. Learned so much from just watching your videos and reading your amazing book. I really admire what you are doing, and not only for the candidates, but also enlightening recruiters and employers. Yes, I think we got some clients that need enlightening as well. All right, thanks to have you, and I will. Joe Winter from Louisville, my boot camper, how are you? Cisco, my boot camper from the left coast, great to have you. I think this is a question. Okay, this is a phenomenal question. I'm going to read it, and then I want to go through some things. So, Cisco is saying when our 14-day challenge emails and outreach is not as effective as we would like, what's the best way to troubleshoot? So in order for this to make sense for everybody else, you need to know what the challenge is. So in the video I just alluded to, and in the special event we're going to have, what the focal point of that is that I want you to have a steady diet each day of doing the high-value job search activities, which I believe and have been statistically proven to be identifying the right companies, identifying people within those companies, and targeting people in those organizations. And then the third thing is sending a thoughtful message either to those people that you found or taking a step towards somebody to introduce you to the person you found. That's the targeted networking aspect, knowing where you want to go first and then figuring out the route to get there. So what Cisco is asking is if the outreach, so he's identified the companies, I'm assuming, he is sending his messages, but he's not getting responses. So Cisco, when you look at, and Kara, can you do me a favor? Can you add this? I want to actually add this to the content on Friday, the week of the live event. I want to make sure that we kind of flush this out for the troubleshooting steps for people. But I think this is a really good point, because this is more holistically as opposed to specifically what the issues are along the way. I'm assuming, Cisco, you're asking me about the lack of response, so not as effective as you would like. So I would start at the beginning and look at, so let's think about everything that you're doing in that process, and any number of things can be incorrect. And we've actually discovered this with a number of the boot campers, where we've needed to make some alterations that immediately raise their results. So the first thing is, are you choosing the right people to target? So if you are going after the CEO of a large media company, that's probably not going to be an effective target, in which case it wouldn't make any difference what your message said or what your resume looked like. So step number one, are you targeting the right person? And are you targeting, and I would include in that, are you targeting the right companies? So if you don't have the right background for that particular company, so you have a background, because I know this, in media, but you don't have as much agency experience. I do think you should target agencies, but that's the kind of differential I'm talking about. Some folks might not be targeting companies that are in alignment with their skill sets. So that's another element. Am I targeting the right organizations, and am I targeting the right people within those organizations? That's the first troubleshooting step. So you got to take a look at that. Now, I would also argue that even if you were not targeting the proper people, I would keep targeting. It's okay to keep sending messages even if these people are not exactly the right people, because some of them will get back to you. But that'd be the first place that I look. The second place that I would look is my messaging correct? Is what I'm saying compelling? Is it likely going to get a response? There's the copy, the editorial copy in the message, so the copywriting itself, is that valuable? Then the other element is, are they even opening the message? So are you emailing it to them, and are they in fact opening them? Because if they're opening them and you're not getting a response, that would lead me to believe it's your copywriting, perhaps. If they're not even opening it, then your copywriting doesn't matter, right? So you need to make sure that you've got the right email addresses and all that good stuff. You are in the boot camp. You have the LinkedIn X-ray video that talks about how to identify the right people. We give you the networking templates, so you've got those. And also, we talk to you about how to tag your emails, make sure you know they get opened and all that good stuff so that you can monitor them. So that's the second spot I would look. And then the third spot that I would look is the resume. Is your resume actually effective? And is it right? Are they opening the resume? Is it in alignment with the organization? Or if you know there's a position and you're targeting somebody, like the boss hunting technique, is your resume in alignment with what they might be looking for? So are you targeting the right people? Is your copy right? Are they opening it up? Is your copywriting good? Are they opening up your email? Is your resume good? We had one individual in the boot camp who, true story, and Cisco, you can go look in there and see all the exchanges that I had with him. But he was saying, hey, I'm not getting a response. So I went through this process with him, and actually I probably put the 7 or 8 steps in there. And then I made the natural assumption that he went through the bootcamp module 2. He actually adjusted his resume accordingly. And when I asked him, does he feel his resume is up to snuff? He actually replied back and he said, well, I paid $1,000 to have a resume writer do this, so I thought it was good. I said, send it to me and I want to look at it. I'm looking at it for 3 seconds and I'm going to tell you if that could be your problem. He sent it to me. I opened it. I immediately responded to him and said, it's absolutely your resume. Go back to module 2, go through and rewrite your resume. As soon as he did that, he was 1 for 7 in his next round. And actually, that's in the book. You could follow that path. So I would go back there and check. But that's how you want to go through the sequence. Am I targeting the right companies? Am I targeting, right? Is my copyright good? And am I sending it to the right people? Are they opening it? Then is my resume in order? Okay. And then from there, that will lead to responses. And then from there, you need to make sure you're responding back and then engaging as you're getting the results. So I would look through it that way. I would also check it's in the boot camp, in the comments area where the post is. Look at, I'm guessing it might be module 3 where we had this dialogue. So that's another spot you can go. We can also talk about this more tomorrow if you want at the private boot camper session. Hope that helps. Natalie Taylor, my boot camper, how you doing? And Joe Winter, my boot camper, how you doing? I love all these boot campers. All right, Joe, had a phone screen last Tuesday, was told I should hear something no later than this past Monday. So I'm assuming you meant Tuesday, 2 Tuesdays ago, and then 6 days later on Monday. I followed up on Tuesday a.m. Screener replied he was still waiting for feedback. On that particular point, as a frame of reference for follow-ups, I would not, if they give you 7 days, which is effectively or 6 days, which is about a week, I would give them 3 days beyond their extension. Or I would give them 3 days extension beyond the week. So I would not have contacted them Tuesday morning. If they said Monday by the end of the day, I'd have waited till Thursday, because I would have given them some grace time. If the recruiter would have said, hey, Joe, it's Tuesday, I'll contact you tomorrow, then by the end of Thursday, I would respond. So how much slack time you want to give them, or say grace time beyond the deadline, depends on how long it was. So the longer they say they'll get back to you, the more slack you give them. The shorter they say they'll get back to you, the shorter slack you give them. All right, so that's your first part. And then he still says waiting for feedback from the hiring manager, and the screener was meeting with the hiring manager Tuesday afternoon. When do I follow up again? The screener indicated they were looking for a quick fill. So if this is me and I hit them on Tuesday, I would wait either until the end of Friday or on Monday. That would be me. So I would say, by the end of tomorrow, I probably would wait till Monday. Just because they say they're looking for a quick fill, you don't know always what quick is. And interestingly, you use that word, they use that word with you. I always say, what's quick to you? Like, I'm in a hurry to find the right person. Well, I'm in a hurry to find the right person, but I would rather find the right person a month from now than pull the trigger and get into a bad situation with the wrong person. So you never know what's going on behind the scenes. You never know if somebody's out. You never know any of that stuff. I love this. By the way, job hunting is working. 2-second interview schedule Friday. I'm like, all right, I love it. Love to hear it. Love to hear it. Good luck to you, my friend, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Joshua, hi to you. Adam Stark from across the pond. I want to move to city 2 hours away. I have a friend there. Should I put it on my resume? I'm worried they'll think nearby and will arrange interview ASAP, but I can't drop commitments on the fly. I hope everyone's doing well. I hope you are too. Adam, please go watch my How to Get a Job Out of State. That's for you. And I go through all the instruction there. I handle this scenario, so check that out. Go bind Amar Nanny. I love that name. Beyond salary surveys, how does not politely find out what salary a referring friend at a similar position is making? It seems a waste to go through the interviews only to be offered a very low package. Go watch my salary negotiation videos, and nothing in my mind is ever a waste of time. I genuinely mean that. So when you get into these interviewing processes, I almost have deaf ears if somebody offers up what the job pays. I really do. I know there are situations out there where there are unions, or there are governments, or there are situations where there are hard and fast rules about what a job pays, high or low. But it's my belief that if you do really well in the interviewing process and you ensure that they absolutely want you, they will always find more money for you, and they will move you levels. That's usually what happens when you interview with small to medium-sized companies. They usually have more latitude and more freedom, and they're not so rigid, so they can pay more if they get more. If you work in larger companies, this is just a rule of thumb. It's not 100% all the time. Every company's a little different. But in larger companies, they usually have harder set salary bands. But what they do to accommodate somebody that they really like is they'll make you a level 2 instead of a level 1, in which case they can put you into a new salary band. Or sometimes they find somebody who's just not quite at the level that they want. They drop them a level because they love that person. They want to get that person, and they pay slightly lower than the target range. So I would not worry too much about that. MCK from Oakbrook, great to have you, my boot camper. I am, let me see. Saba asking me talk about holacracy and how we prepare for those interviews. Well, I don't, it's interesting. I don't see that word a lot. I'm assuming that you mean it's like a decentralized or remote way of doing that. I'm not sure where you fall in the chain of that, if you are managing remote people or if you are being managed remotely. I think that just has more to do, I don't know if I'm missing the mark here, but I think that has more to do with, can you operate in a remote fashion, whether you are the boss and managing the team or whether you are on the staff and working as part of a virtual team. I think that has more to do with communication and staying in touch, and candidly, and I mean this is way different than it was, say, 10 years ago. Every company out there, it makes no difference. We have a tiny company. Kara and we operate remotely all the time. We operate, we use the, we can use the video if we need to. We use a lot of phone time, but it's like she's sitting right next to me all day long. So I don't know that I would prepare any differently than that. Is it more so than I would just say, it's about good communication using whatever medium that you need. And if you're the manager, it's about making people feel as though they're part of the team. But you can do that remotely these days. It's a lot easier than it was 10 years ago when a lot of companies didn't really deploy these kind of tools. So I think that's what you were asking me. Oh, I'm sorry. Kara must be sharing with me. You mean an egalitarian type of environment. Okay, so in an egalitarian type of environment, that is, I think, has more to do with everybody's insight needs to be included. And I don't love egalitarian type environments. I want to be very clear here. Somebody has to have accountability for every single activity that the company does. So some person, for all 10 activities that the company does, somebody has to have the final say. Somebody's butt needs to be held accountable for the decisions that are being made, and somebody needs to break with 51% of the vote, if you know what I mean. So if you are talking about an egalitarian type of environment, then what I would say is that I would talk in the same fashion I would talk about team orientation and what's important. So the things that become important in an egalitarian type of environment are your ability to listen and remain flexible and open to input from others. And then the best answer you can give them is that whenever I'm in an egalitarian type of environment, obviously I appreciate everybody else's input, but I do that regardless of the organizational hierarchy. So what I do is I listen to see what the insight is from my teammates, because they're all my teammates, right? Because nobody has the final say, apparently. And when somebody differs from my opinion, then the first thing that I want to understand is the rationale for why they think what they think. The second thing that I do is I want to be able to share my point of view. And the third thing that I want to do in those situations is I want to see if whatever the solution can be, whatever it is we're working toward, whatever the project is we're working on, if we can take into account both persons' viewpoints and make our solution even better. If I don't feel that we can do that, then what I try to do is explain my vantage point, and we look at where the ROI is going to be on whoever's solution and so forth. That to me is the same type of response that I would give if you get asked the question, well, have you ever disagreed with a coworker? You want to insert your philosophy about your behavior before you go on to a story about your disagreement. Because if you go into a story about your disagreement and they don't like your story, if they like your philosophy, the story becomes irrelevant. If they don't like your philosophy, which everybody will if you just say what I said, then you'll be okay. So I'm hoping I got that. I guess I don't use that word when I'm talking about an egalitarian type of environment where it's kind of a zero hierarchy or a flat. Those companies, it rarely works. It rarely works. So I've just about seen it all in that regard. And when somebody's not accountable, what happens is things take longer. All right, wait, couple other things. This is important. This is what I think about everybody has to be a team player. Now, I think there is a huge difference between I'm a team player and I care about everybody's feelings and I have etiquette and I'm professional in the way in which I interact. What I just got done saying about the way that I treat people who have differences of opinion, that's actually how I operate, right? I want to look for the greatest opportunity and the greatest solution. But companies that operate in an egalitarian type of environment, what they're more concerned about is that everybody goes home at the end of the day with their feelings intact. And it's my belief that when you do that, what you ultimately do is you crucify the most creative people who are the ones that actually catapult your company forward, because you drag their ideas back to the middle of the pack because everybody has to have input and everybody has to have contributions. Those companies generally are not leading edge companies, they're not innovative, and they're slower to respond to the market. So that's my experience in working in those types of environments and consulting to those type of environments. And I'm talking about as when I was a consultant for the first 2 decades of my career. And then as a recruiter, with the last 15 years of my career, and looking at that, that's what I find. That's what I find. So that's my opinion. Just as if you want to take that into account as you evaluate these companies, that's what I think. And that's what I think about the general team player concept. It's one thing to be a good teammate, but when you talk about brainstorming and innovation, that's where that egalitarian type of environment really drags you back. All right. Deborah, sorry, how are you? Eva, both of my boot campers, great to see you. Eva is prepping for a role play project manager job interview. Specifically, I'm telling the customer they can't have something they want. What tips do you have in preparing for that? So whenever you have to say no to somebody, you have to do a couple of things. And I don't believe that organizations that when I call in and I'm a customer and they just say, no, you can't have that, well, obviously I don't feel very good. But if I understand the rationale behind why that is the case, and you explain, you let me know that if you think it's a valuable idea, that you will include it as a possible enhancement. And then the third thing is you need to be able to have what the alternatives are, and what you're ultimately hoping in the alternatives is the alternatives are even better than what they're requesting. So there's the alternative that says, well, so we have a software system. Eva, you're part of this. You're a boot camper. You got all the assets in the Mile Walk Academy. There are a ton of things in that Mile Walk Academy platform that I do not control, because we basically pay an annual subscription for somebody to set that product up for us, and then they release the features in the sequence in which they release them, and then we try to take advantage of them as their customer. And you're my customer, I'm their customer, and so on. Now, there are a number of things that I always want that they don't have yet. So my question to them is, okay, I get it, I understand. What can I do in the meantime? What's an alternative? Is there a creative way that you can help me handle what it is that I need to support Eva and Deborah and Mary and so on? And so I think there's 3 parts to that. And I also think that you need to explain your philosophy. If you are role playing, one of the things that I like to do for all you role players out there is before you roll, if the interview is about, hey, we're going to role play, let's start. What I would say is, I know we're going to role play, but I also, because we're actually going to do this live, there are a couple things that I want you to know about how I'm going to handle this. And one of the big parts in the role play is that whenever you have to say no to a customer, you need to be empathetic. And I think there are certain principles or tenets or behaviors or characteristics, or whatever you want to call them, that need to be in place. So whenever I want you to know, whenever I'm going to tell somebody no, these are the things that I'm thinking, boom, boom, boom. Okay, let's go and let's role play. This allows you to establish your philosophy here. Again, if they don't like the role play itself, if they like your philosophy, role play becomes situational and one of a kind, one at a time. And that can be irrelevant as long as they understand the structure that you're going to use whenever you get in situations like this. And if they like that structure, they're going to bank on the fact that you'll be able to apply that structure when this comes up for real. So those are the things that I would do there. And lots of luck with that. John, back on this side of the world. Great to have you back. MCK, an old Anderson Consulting work friend, suggested I fit in resume that I am classically trained. I don't know what classically trained means. I would not use the word classically ever in my resume unless I was a musician. Any tips for rolling this into content, even if it was years ago and not W-2? I have absolutely no problem with you using the word trained. Trained, if you use the word trained in your resume, the only time the word trained ought to be used is if you do not have the practical experience. I was trained in this product. I was trained in this process. And that's code for I'm trained, but I never used it. As opposed to I'm certified in in the PMI Institute's PM project management training, and I am PMP certified, and I use it in my processes and in my experience. If you're trained in something, a process, a methodology, software, whatever it is, you're trained. The only reason for you to mention you're trained is if you're not using it. Now, that's a little bit different when you get into sales. There's different sales methodologies and areas that you could be trained in. You can list those. Other positions, they have similar stuff. But if you're trying to use classically trained to simply put the word in your resume, then just have a skills and training section and put it in there. And that's how I would handle that. And I don't know what it is that you're talking about, you being classically trained in what. But if you could tell me that, then and maybe we can pick this up tomorrow for you in the boot camp, and I'd be happy to tell you. But it's probably something that needs to go into a skills section. And for all of you folks who have a kind of a battery of these things, you technologists or other people that have need heavy usage of things that they're trained in, have the skills and training section. And what you can do is, you can use words like proficient in and zip it off, right? Trained in, zip it off. Rudimentary knowledge of, or exposure to, or whatever. You can kind of grade yourself. And what that does is it puts the words in the resume. And then what you're hoping is that the computer that's reading it or the person that's eyeballing it is going to say, okay, she's got some exposure to that. And I think, she probably can pick it up quickly based on what I'm seeing at the rest of her resume. That's what I would do. I wouldn't use the word classically trained, though. Susan Kelly, how are you? Saeed. Hey, Andrew and everybody, greetings from London. New subscriber, awesome. Can we give Saeed a big welcome and a hug? Interesting video about Job Search Challenge that gets interviews. Glad you liked it. Everybody, I'm telling you, you got to take that down. Hey, can I do a mid-hour break here? Just really quick. I want to iterate for the people. I never look at, we got a whole bunch of people. Okay, great. I never look at the number of people that are here, and I don't even see any of that stuff till the end. But for all of you 165 that are watching, thank you for coming. as my niece likes to say when she makes me sit down for her dance recitals in the living room. But thank you for coming, and I would hope that you would all do a couple things. Come to the Job Search Challenge the week of the 18th through the 22nd. I'm live every day. First day is I'm going to throw out the challenge, and we'll do some Q&A just like this, but the first portion will be teaching. Second day is about building the right target company list. Third day is about identifying, the types of people. And then the fourth day is what do you want to say to them? So what's your content got to say? And the fifth day is going to be about how to overcome the challenges. It's going to be a sweet deal. It's the 18th through the 22nd. If you are interested in joining my Job Search Bootcamp, I'm not going to go into all the ins and outs of the bootcamp. We have a private coaching, group coaching session tomorrow, and we have a private group session next Friday. The reason that I'm mentioning this is we just did a promotion a few weeks back, about 3 weeks ago it ended, or 4 weeks ago it ended. And the reason that this is important is because after November 15th, right now I have a $400 Career Accelerator program that is included as part of the package. The price has gone up, but if you want to get it before November 15th and you email us, we will give you the package as it's stated on the bootcamp page, the way it looks, and we'll drop the price $100 for you because I want you in the program and I want you to get the dream job. After November 15th, we have a completely different set of bootcamp packages. None of them are going to include that Career Accelerator for free. You're going to have the option of the base package. It will not have the Career Accelerator program. You can get a coaching session, and the price doubles for that. And then the third option is going to be a VIP program where you can have direct email access to me, plus get a coaching session, and there's only a limited number of those spots. So we're repackaging a bunch of stuff, but none of them are going to have the Career Accelerator. So if you want it, it is a very, very good program. Check the page out. I cannot stress enough, I'm not bluffing about this. It's going away. All the stuff's already set up, but I want to give you one last chance, and you can do that before November 15th, and after November 15th, all the packages are going to be different, and we're retiring all the other programs. But once you're in the boot camp, you get all the assets and you get the upgrades as I roll them out. So just want to make you aware of that. And yesterday, last announcement, then we'll go back to questions. We did a Leadership Monthly live coaching session on high performance. You now have about 9 months worth of archives, although I'm going to be taking off some of the early programs on building confidence, focus, making great decisions. Those are going to be coming off the subscription because I'm going to be giving you a 6-month backlog of that stuff. Get in now if you're interested. We have a monthly subscription that you can get in. We have an annual subscription that we can get in. And if you're a boot camper, we have a discounted monthly option. The annual option is the same for everybody. So that's my announcements. Okay, let me go. On to Joseph Esposito. Morning to you. After recent interviews and the interview intervention exercises, I realize I'm in burnout. My skills do not translate into a job that provides enough for my family. Joseph, I would love to tell you how to earn enough to support your family, because ultimately, at the end of the day, that's what I care about. I not only want you to be able to earn enough for your family, but I want you to be happy in your job. I don't know what your background is, and I don't know what you do, but if you offer up some of your skill set and the things that you are skilled in, then I would be happy to answer that and give you some ideas of how to come up with a job that pays more. Patricia Atkinson, how are you? From PA. Saeed, another question. In this video, I'm assuming you mean the Job Search Challenge. Yes. You suggest to send a thoughtful message toward a person of a company that I would be interested in. What do you mean by thoughtful message? Okay. Saeed, the easiest way to respond to that is check out my video on how to craft the perfect job search networking message. That's exactly what I mean. Cisco, how do we know when our resume is ready to send? I'm sure we don't need to tweak for hours. That's true. Cisco, Go through Module 2 of the bootcamp, do everything I tell you, and then it's ready. Marissa Wagner from New Mexico. And Stacy Gilmore, looking forward to talking to you today, later. John, oh, I love this. John batting 400, so I'm assuming you mean 2 for 5 or 4 for 10, maybe. Actually, John, can you tell me how many reach outs you did? That was like the first day of the challenge. Would love to know what those stats look like. Kurt Dennis, how are you? Good to get your email the other day. And thank you for letting me know that this was not set up at the proper day of the week. But nobody notices those things. They just show up. Oh my God, wait, my hand slipped. Hold on. All right. Brent, how are you from Virginia? John, the weather stinks. Christopher. Hello, Andrew. Besides bringing copies of my resume for on-site interviews for a senior role, do you suggest bringing a 30, 60, 90-day plan or references or recommendations, or just speak to it? I would not bring references or recommendations. Ever. Never. I don't care if the CEO of your last company wrote you the most glowing LOR ever. I wouldn't bring it. Nobody wants them. Nobody wants to read them. Nobody cares because they want to evaluate you for themselves. Now, the 30, 60, 90-day plan, that I actually would bring. And it isn't, so you only know so much based on your interviewing. And there's only so many standard protocols that you can implement in a 3-month plan when you don't know enough about the company or their customers or whatever it is that you're doing. However, the thing I like about the 30, 60, 90-day plan is all y'all senior people out there, here's what I would do. As you get into the interviewing process, you don't have to have a 30, 60, 90-day plan right away. Go through your screen, talk to the hiring official, talk to some people that are on the team. Maybe you got some staff members. As you get down to the end, okay, so you're getting close, right? It keeps going. You're getting close. You put that 30, 60, 90-day plan together. You keep, throughout the process, you keep adjusting it along the way based on new things that you hear. And you start asking questions about that kind of stuff that would help you fill in the 30, 60, 90-day with specific company nomenclature, activities, hotspots that they talk about, things that they need fixed, things that they're bringing you in to do, all that good stuff. Then what you do is when you get down to the end, you say, hey, look, you know what? As part of my normal practice, whenever I'm interviewing with a company, I always like to put a 30, 60, 90-day plan together for my own benefit to make sure that I understand whether I'm equipped to do this, whether I'm interested in doing this, and it gives me kind of a nice objective view of the situation, gives me more confidence that this is something I want to do. I have that. Would you be interested in speaking about it, or would you like me to send it to you? And I realize that it's just based on what I've picked up from what I know of your company, from the things that you've shared, from the things that your team's shared, and the other people that I've spoken to. And I know I'm going to have to adjust it when I get here, but I did this for me. I think it's a great exercise, and I would love some confirmation from you. And you want to say this in a more matter-of-fact way, kind of like I just did there. Feel free to loop it back between 35 and 38 minutes on the video. And it's more nonchalant. As opposed to, I got this plan here. Look, I got to show it to you. Or, I'm sure you want to see my 30, 60, 90-day plan. Or, something like that. Or if they ask you for one and then you already have it, that's just the best. That's just the best. Like, well, I have that. Of course I have that. Right? And so that's how I like to do that. But I would not be pulling that thing out till the end. That's like your linchpin. Christopher, that's what I would do. Hope that helped. Joe, I tell Kara she's got to get on the set. You know what? You know what we're going to do? We're going to do a session where I interview Kara, and then I'm going to ask her all the points about what it's like to work with a great boss. And all the things that you should be on the lookout for that she notices. Maybe we'll do that. Just kidding. Minnesota, Melvin, Eva Simborg. Good for you. Lots of luck on the interview. Can we all give Eva a big high five and whatever those hands things are? Chris Whitpan, my chef, how you doing, buddy? The Coach Ruth. Ruth in Clearwater, gonna see you December 6th. By the way, we're doing a meetup December 6th at Frenchie's in Clearwater, Florida. Gulf side on the beach. You will all get emails if you're on my email list. If you're not on my email list, subscribe and make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel. I've told you guys this before, right? Here's the sequence in which I respond to my comments. I go to the Mile Walk Academy, and everybody who pays is a paying member. I go through the, in the morning. So a bunch of you today got responses from me earlier. Then I go to my blog and I go to my YouTube channel. And then on the YouTube channel, we have filters, us YouTubers, so we can see who's subscribed. So then I say, give me all the comments I have not subscribed to, and then for my subscribers. And then all their comments come up, and then I go through them. And then I lift the subscriber criteria off, and then it's basically all the other comments I've not responded to, and then I respond to those last. I do that every day. And what I'm finding is that if you're not subscribed, I'm not really able to get to you because I'm answering everybody else's question, which you can imagine with the number of subscribers that I have and the number of people that are in our community and in the programs. So subscribe to the channel and come to the shows here. Come to the shows. Go Bean. So you're a boot camper too? I don't recognize your name, and I'm sorry about that because I'm usually like dang good. We try to keep track of you all. All right, J Pax. Jason from Chicago. For individual roles at the same company, should you include months of experience? Are repeats from highlights in the professional experience? Okay, let me take these backwards. Repeats. So for those of you who are not familiar with the Andy LaCivita resume template, career profile, career highlights, professional work experience, and so on. Your career highlights, I like 3, people like things in 3s, can be bullets that you completely repeat in the body of your professional work experience. If you are really smoking, you are making sure that the keywords that are aligned to the job description are not only in your highlights, but are also in the professional experience section in the same bullet, so that the applicant tracking system is giving you credit for the years of experience that you've identified. So if you have a highlight for a company that you worked at between 2010 and 2015, 5 years, 6 years, depending on when you started, the applicant tracking systems, we believe through research and informal surveys and a bunch of other stuff, do give you more credit when they see that keyword in the body of your, so if they see it in the highlight, they don't know what it's all about, but they just know it's there. If they see it in the professional work experience section, like, oh, 5-6 years of that gets credit. Good. That raises the power in your resume. So Jason, to answer the second question, that's what I would do. For the first question, the individual roles at the same company, what I like there is you have the company. So let me do this to you. So you got your company, whatever the company is, XYZ, and you were a senior analyst from 2017 to present, and then below that you had a different role. Maybe you were you're a senior analyst, maybe you were a junior analyst, maybe you were just an analyst or whatever from whenever. 2013 to 2017, just do it like that. And if you grab my resume template, you'll be able to see that. But that's how I would do that. And if you're going to use months, another thing we found through our applicant tracking system research, if you are going to use months in your resume, so some of you are just using years, right? 2010 to present. For those of you that are using months, you want to spell the month out because the computer burps when it sees 10/2019. It doesn't know, it has a hard time reading that. It's easier to read October 2019. So either use the months or don't use the months, but be consistent throughout. And if you do use the months, spell them out. And if you want more on all this applicant tracking stuff, This is what we actually did with our boot campers last week in the private coaching session. I gave them a whole teaching on all the newest and latest applicant tracking system research that we've done. One of our boot campers even contributed greatly to that. And so there's a lot more insight that we have now because we spent, time-wise, probably a couple of months, not a couple of months straight, but you know what I mean. Over a couple of months, we investigated. I called recruiters that I've worked with that are corporate recruiters that monitor these applicant tracking systems each day. We tried to verify some things we were finding online. We went in and we simulated some of these submittals and all that good stuff. We have other stats like that. I shared all that with the boot campers. I'm not going to get into all that stuff. That's a whole session in and of itself. But if you are interested, maybe one more reason to get in. All right. Hey, Susan Kelly, thank you for that. You know what? I always forget to tell you guys. Kara and I, 206 people, that's pretty sweet. Thank you for coming. I mean it. I'm serious. Kara and I, we work really hard. Not that this should matter to you, but we work really hard to keep our Mile Walk Academy live calendar of events up to date. So if all you need to do is go to the milewalkacademy.com. Up at the top, there's something that says live calendar. It's in the menu item. If you just click it, up comes a little page from the Mile Walk Academy system, and inside of that is a Google Calendar. And at the bottom, there's instructions for you to sync your calendar to that. So you're not subscribing to anything. You're just syncing the calendar that says, oh, Andy's live Thursday. Oh, Andy has a boot camp on Friday. That might be something I'm interested in or not. Oh, Tuesday there's careers and coffee or not. We actually say we're off right now. Thursday, live office hours. Friday, a boot camp session. December 4th, leadership monthly thing. November 18th, 22nd. All that stuff is in there. And you could just sync it and, come to what you want or not, or, then to keep an eye on your email or our registration pages or whatever. And it's great. I sync my calendar to that so that I know where I need to be. But that's great, and you don't even have to do anything to it. We update it for you, and it's yours sweeps. So whether you have an Apple iCal or whether you have an Outlook or a Gmail calendar or whatever, it's really pretty sweet. Yeah, we keep that thing up to date. All right, how we doing here? Let me see. Lorenzo, first on site 3 hours. Good luck. Interview for management position. So Lorenzo, obviously that's a fairly wide open question. One thing I would definitely tell you to do is go watch one of my absolute favorite videos that I ever created for you called Executive Job Interviews. It's really a good one. It's about 20 minutes. Maybe if Kara's on her toes, she might be able to pull it out for you. But it's about, steps to win the interview. Executive level interviews, about 20 minutes. And it's advanced. It's good. It really is. And obviously, I would recommend that you look at all my other job interviewing videos. But if it's a senior position or a management position, I would highly recommend watching that. I would also watch my video on getting a senior role. I have another one, but the one on executive level interviewing is just it's more points in it. It's more powerful. It's fast. It's good. And the other one, the one on the senior role, it's got like 3 or 4 key points in it. And but go into my YouTube channel and just type senior or type executive, and things will come up. And it is worth it. It is worth it to watch that. Crow Detail and hey. Went for interview a week ago and did not get response when called asking, is I pass? They say that the girl is on meeting. This happened twice. Should I call again? So I think what you're getting at here is you haven't gotten the call back. It's only been a week. So it's not terrible. A week is not that long in the life of interviewing or recruitment. I know I know it feels like an eternity to you, but I would hang in there. I would not call right away. I would probably give them about a week or so since the last time you contacted them, and just say, hey, just wanted to check in to see if this is still going on, and go from there. Brent, is the saying that only 20% of the jobs are advertised? I heard that years ago, and is that still true today? I'd be surprised if it was that high. I really would. People, remember this. I mean, dare I say, read my lips. The reason the Job Search Challenge is so effective, and the reason I'm referencing the Job Search Challenge, is because the Job Search Challenge is about you owning 100% control of all the action you take to bring yourself to market. That completely disregards, and I want you to disregard, posted jobs. I'm not saying don't look at posted jobs. I'm saying it's not just posted jobs. So when I say disregard, meaning go talk to the company even if they have a posting or not. That's what I mean by disregard. Why? Think about this. Number one, it's true that not all opportunities that companies are searching for are advertised. Sometimes they do them on the sly. Why? They're senior positions. They don't want a lot of inbound resumes, or they're replacing somebody. They don't want it advertised. Think about that. How many companies have you worked for where they're in the process of replacing somebody, right? Or they replaced somebody. You discovered this after the fact. There was no posting, right? Because they're trying to find somebody. Here again, let's say I'm the vice president of sales for the central region and I got 10 sales reps. I'd get rid of 2 or 3 of them, just like that. If I got 3 people to come to me that had better credentials, that I liked more, that I thought could be more effective, I would swap them out. There's no job posting out there for that, right? You get what I'm saying? And small companies to middle-sized companies, they're always looking for great talent. You know, you've probably heard me say your dream job doesn't come along right when you need it to. Doesn't it feel like that? Well, guess what I tell the companies? Your dream candidate doesn't come along right when you need her to or him. You got to be looking all the time. You got to be talking to people all the time, right? So that's what I would say about that percentage. Now, I don't really give a lot of thought to it, okay? But I'll tell you this. Well, I don't know if you've been watching me on social. By the way, if you're not linked to me on LinkedIn, link up with me. Leverage my network. I get tons of people that I'm connected to, and I'm happy to help you and facilitate intros or whatever. I've been putting on there little posts from YouTube and from LinkedIn, the inboxes that I'm getting and some of my emails. I just put one a day for the last 3 days for the traction people are getting from that job search challenge. This one woman last night, 6:20 p.m., I remember I was trying to kind of go through my stuff and look at what came in from the day. And she said, Andy, I was so rejected. I just gotten basically the rejection after 5 rounds of interviews, but I opened up your email, meaning like the email from Tuesday that I send you guys. Then she watched the job search challenge. She said, so I sent out 12 emails and got 2 interviews, right, one day, and right after she got the rejection. She's like, boom, you just said, John, batting 400. This stuff works. And I don't care if they have openings or not. Just send them messages. There was one woman, I think her name was Sarah. She's on the YouTube. It's on the comments. You can go see it. She's like, I sent the boss hunting letter, and in 10 minutes, the woman called me back and asked me for my resume. She didn't even attach her resume to begin with. I mean, so take control of your search. Be proactive with the way you bring yourself to market. If you are only looking at advertised positions, you are limiting the number of possibilities that are out there, and I would say it's less than 20%. I genuinely believe that. I do. So Brent, thank you for that, and thank you for letting me kind of go off on that, because folks, you got to take control. You got to be deliberate. You got to own your actions. They're 100% in your control. Do not feel as if you do not have choices. And by the way, I'm going to send you an email. Kara, when are we sending it? November 17th on a Sunday. And I hope you open the email, because it is my story that I have never told anyone. None of you have ever heard this story about when I was given 2 choices by my last CEO. So before I went out and opened Mile Walk, and I wrote the story for you. I didn't want to shoot it. I wrote the story for you. Exactly what transpired, and I hope it inspires you to go out and take control. He thought I had 2 choices. I thought I had more. And that's the story. It's kind of a Sunday special before we get into the job search challenge, because I want you to see the only reason why with this is going on right now, why I'm here to be able to support you. And so Brent and everybody else, you need to go out and get it. Don't wait for it to come to you. Don't hope it pops up. Don't hope you get an alert about it. None of that stuff. Go get them. Baby, how are you from Oakland? Really enjoy your story. You are quite special, and I have no problem saying that. You are. Actually, you're all special. And Kelly Kennedy Lapping, who's now in Florida. Kelly, you gotta come see me. Make the drive. Make the drive. Come on. You want to give me a hug. Sabrina, the ATS says my resume is under review. What should be my next steps? You could wait it out, or what I always like you to do is see if you can find the recruiter or the human resources person in charge of recruiting for that role. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. Sometimes it's plain as day. Sometimes you have to do a little detective work. But I would go in, LinkedIn, try to find the person, send him or her an email, even if it's not the right person. Say, hey, I just wanted to follow up. The applicant tracking system said my resume is under review. Just wanted to see if there's any progress. Kurt Dennis, hey, have a question. My next to last employer was my brother in a family business. He got mad at me for leaving. How do I address when asked by a prospective employer? Whoa. And let me add in what is all checked in an employer background check with prior jobs. So what I don't know, but let's talk about this, is how long you worked there. Why would that be important to me? So one thing that I would say in this situation is, while I know it sounds unfortunate, the fact that this person was your brother might be the best thing that could happen to you. So one of the things you can do, Kurt, is knowing when a background check is done by a current employee. I'm your prospective employer. You're going to come work with me at MileWalk. I'm going to run a background check on you. If I run a background check and I call the company or I email the company, I'm assuming you're in the US, all you're legally allowed to share is Kurt worked here from, and yes, that was it. Name, rank, serial number, that's kind of it. Okay? If the employer says anything about you outside of that, you can sue them. You actually can. They cannot go off and editorialize when a background check is done. So in your case, what I would say is to whoever the prospective employer is, just say, I left my family business. As far as references go, I think it would be, I'm assuming you'd want people other than my family, and just, I'm happy to give you other references from other places that I've worked, which I think would be more prudent. And I wouldn't mention that your brother got mad, and just say, I would say, I don't know how it would come up, and I don't think you would have to explain this, but if I had to explain that, I would just say, my brother was really disappointed that I wanted to leave, and kind of spread my wings and all that. You don't have to make it like he got mad. I mean, I would just say he was just disappointed. Of course, he's my brother, right? Just do one of those. Landry, how are you? East Africa, love it. Bethany from Sarasota. Bethany, I'll be in Clearwater, December 6th. All you got to do is drive a few miles down the chute. Tiago, thank you for your email this morning. I responded to your email. Don't be overwhelmed. Kurt Dennis, this is a great one. My last job was owning my own business, and I ran the business. Does being an owner hurt you? Should I put my titles as owner and general manager? You most certainly can. I favor a couple of things. First, I favor that you go watch my video on how to go from contractor or self-employed to full-time employee. Okay, there's a video out there, and I explain some of the things that you need to be mindful of. You are in, if I got this right, the Resume Writing Masterclass. In the Resume Writing Masterclass, there's a special video in there for how you can handle it on your resume. When you get into the interview, right, this is your next hurdle, I get into the interview. I'm an owner. The major thing that I'm going to point to in the video, if you go watch that, is that you want to be able to assure the person or people or company that you're going to that you are not a flight risk, right? So a lot of times the concern with somebody who owns their own business is twofold. Number one, you might want to go and start your own business again. Number two, you might not be really great at taking orders. And I don't mean it like that, but you know what I'm saying, right? Usually entrepreneurs, what's the thing I always say that I kind of laugh? I'd rather work 24 hours a day for myself than 1 minute for anybody else. That's not no, that's pretty true. But that's what happens. Now, if you owned your own business for a very long time, then it's a little harder to explain. Meaning it's great that it was successful, but you might have a harder time adjusting than others. Okay, so you need to be ready for that. And so you need to have a very, very, very positive story about why you're so interested in joining a company and their company. So that's a hurdle that you have that others don't have. So if I go and don't worry, I'm not leaving you guys. If I go into a company, I have to explain why I want to go into a company, not just their company, but why do you want to shut your business down and go into a new one, right? And so there's got to be some parameters there. It could be any one of a number of things, right? So people who have never owned a business have absolutely no idea, no inkling whatsoever of how stressful it is to own your own business. You can't even imagine unless you've ever done it. Now, I, as an employer, would look at somebody like you and think that that's awesome. So I'm looking for, how do I take this guy who has great experience, and if he can convince me that he's here for the haul, then he's in. Because he could do things that others can't, and he's got experience that others don't, and that kind of stuff. So you need to be thinking about, how do you tell your stories? I don't want to use the word spin, but spin your stories positively, and why you're so eager to go into a company, and why they're specifically, and why you're not a flight risk, and all that good stuff. And then the owner, general manager, I don't love the word owner in the resume, only because you don't really get points for that. Okay, so I'd rather you say general manager, vice president or whatever, operations officer, something that you're going to get some credit for. ATS credit. Not that you should be putting your resume in a system a lot, but you know what I'm saying. Patricia Atkinson, I have someone who is referring me to their bosses for a position. I love that. Mentioning a higher position is available. Should I apply for the manager position and just mention the other in the letter? So if I'm reading this correctly, I would not, if someone is referring you to their boss, I wouldn't say anything. I'd send the message. I'd send the message to my friend, and I'd have him or her forward it to their boss, and just say, I'm open to wherever I can add the most value, and I'm happy to hash that out in a conversation in the interview, right? So you don't need to confuse things about, well, should I really be this position or that? Let's go in and they'll figure it out. That's how I would do that. In your letter, I would say, I'm most valuable in these capacities. And if you got a friend referring you, that's nothing. I mean, you're in. Go. Mrs. K, positivity. Love that handle. There are a lot of sites out there for remote jobs. All right. I think I got that one. Lisa Arena, success story, leadership. Andy, you rock. Hey, I received 3 offers this week. Your energy and advice helped me ace it. I'm so glad I found you. I attack my new job with the gusto while in leadership. Lisa, I remember, you know what? I didn't say this to any of you, but I'm running a fever right now. I feel like absolute dog doo-doo. But I know my people need me, which is why I'm here. And Lisa, last night at the end of the day while we were doing that leadership program, it's all I could do to give you the best I had while I was hallucinating half the time. But I'm glad it went well. Love it. Lee's a boot camper? Hey, When we send our boss hunting emails, what should we be putting in the subject line in the email to encourage them to open the email? Lee, so a couple things, and I get this question a lot. Kara, remember I said we're going to do boss hunting version 2? We really need to do that. You all, okay, so let me use an analogy for me to you, because you obviously get emails from me. Wow, it is incredibly important for me as a trainer and a coach and somebody who needs online marketing, meaning email, social media, and so forth, to entice you to open up my email. What's very important for me is that the email is connecting with whatever issues that you or aspirations that you have to grow, and that I'm very congruent between my subject line and the body of what I'm sharing. If you open an email and it's not consistent with what I'm advertising in the title or subject line, I'm going to be breaking trust. So I take that stuff very seriously. I have to worry because of the systems we use to send emails. And when you get emails from me, sometimes you get them on Tuesday and Thursday. Sometimes you get them in a number of days in a row. This week you got one Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right? So there are things related to spam filters and other things of that nature where we have to be very, very careful. When you all are sending one email to someone, meaning, Andy's in my inbox 3 days in a row this week. Now, I have time to open them. I want to open them. I don't want to open them, or whatever. We understand and respect that. You're sending one email, a one-of-a-kind email, one time to one person. So number one, you don't have to worry about all that, the filtering stuff. Number two, generally speaking, people that get emails that are unique from a unique sender generally open them, okay? It isn't so much about the subject line. I would just have something in there that's proper. I'm interested in working with you, or something of that nature, or I'm interested in working with you and your company, or something, just anything professional. What's more important is what's in the body of the email. So I would not worry so much about the subject line. Now, I do want to say this though, much like me, you are in a position right now, like it or not, where you are a marketer of your services, right? So when I as your coach am sending you an email, it's important to me that you open the email. And what I do is we watch who opens what emails. We watch who responds to the title of the email, meaning this title with this same content got more opens and more people were interested in it. That's what we call split testing. Okay, it's just a fancy word. But for you, what I would do is if you got 10 boss hunting cover letters, send 5 with one subject line, send 5 with a different subject line. See which ones get opened more. You know what I mean? Is it I'm interested in working on your team, or I'm interested in working with you and your company, or I don't love things like, great salesperson available, or things like that. I don't love those kinds of subject lines, but I really leave it up to you. But the most important message is I wouldn't worry that they're going to open it or not. I would be more concerned about what's in the body than the subject line. I totally get where you're coming from, and I would monitor it. If I'm job searching, I would have a spreadsheet of all of the companies that I'm pursuing. That would be the left column. Okay, company A, company B, company C. If I'm boss hunting, at company A, there's Andy. At company B, there's Kara. At company, whatever. These are the people I'm sending the boss hunting cover letter to. Here's the subject line I used. Here's a link to the copy of the email, or I might even paste it in the spreadsheet to see what's working and what isn't, if I want to see it all in one place. But I would have something like that. And I would say, got opened, got a response, didn't get a response, and so forth. I would be tracking that stuff like I was a marketer. So I think that's more important to you, Lee, to do. All right, Ed, have a few interviews scheduled after 4 p.m. over the next few days. I love that. I would not worry, Ed. Let's read this all out. I have a few interviews scheduled for 4 p.m. Over the next few days. Since these are kind of late in the day, should my approach be a bit different to maintain the interviewer's attention span? I actually think, okay, so that's a phenomenal question, my boot camper and leader. I actually think what keeps people's attention is not their energy, it's your energy. So the thing that I really would tell you is make sure you're in order. Make sure you're energetic. Stand up when you're taking, if you are on the phone, stand up. If you are in with them and you're meeting with them, the really nice thing about 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, often, not always, they don't have anything in the back of it. So I love the late day work interviews only for that reason. I like early morning interviews because they're fresh, they're frosty, and normally nothing has gone wrong. I like the late day interviews because usually there's nothing at the end. The risk you run with the late day could be a little tired. Something could have come up that really threw them off their game, but that's not for you. You can't control that. So I like those. I do not like midday interviews. If I had a choice, I would go morning, then end of day, middle day, last. I know a lot of you guys ask me that stuff, but I hope that helps. Ed, it's your energy. It's about your energy. I could get somebody, if I'm meeting with them, if they're tired, I could get them to not be tired, right? Like I feel like I can do that. And I think take it upon yourself to maintain your energy level, to be engaging and all that good stuff. I hope that helped. Career changer, please share some strategies for middle-aged professionals who are changing careers. Career changer, I got a whole career changer playlist. Check that out. I have all kinds. Now, I'm 53. Now, I don't even say I'm middle-aged anymore because I ain't living to be 106. But depending on how you define, guess what? I got news for you. Y'all 38-year-olds, that's middle age, okay? So I think I'm guessing what you're really... Now, if you're 38 or 40, you dang young, okay? You don't need to be worrying. If you're over 50, I still don't think you need to be worrying, although I know people freak out. But I do, just for purposes of this little interaction, I have a bunch of videos out there for over 50-year-olds. I have job search advice for over 50-year-olds. I have age discrimination videos about searching, interviewing, and so forth. Just check the channel. I hit it all. And let's get this straight. Middle age is between 35, right, and 40. That's middle age. You pass 40, right? You're getting, well, I guess you're still middle age. We'll go to 45. All righty. Nick Ramos. I've been through 2 rounds of interviews. I had my final interview Monday. Awesome. I know there is only one more applicant at this stage. How can I differentiate myself from other applicant at this stage? Nick, I don't know what level you are interviewing for. If you are senior, I want you to loop the tape back to 35 minutes into 38 minutes. And I think that was when I was talking about the 30, 60, 90-day plan. That's one option. If you are kind of mid to junior level, if you have not yet sent thank you cards handwritten, I would now like hang up on me now and go and write those and drop them in the mail, and I would get them there fast. So I probably would have done that on Tuesday. That's okay. Right now is the next best time. Go get them in there. I don't care if you got to FedEx them, or UPS them. Get them there by tomorrow. All right. Ujwala? Hi, Andy. How to get a job when you need sponsorship in a foreign country and the interviewers are not ready to give a look at the CV. So when you're talking about CVs and you're talking about visas, is what I'm assuming you mean. One of the things that I'm going to give you just 2 quick points. The market in the U.S. right now, where I am, the market is very tight. The economy is healthy, but the market for employment is tight. So if you have a specialty skill that is in demand and you live in a different country and you want to migrate to the U.S., or vice versa, it is much easier to get a visa if you have a skill that is in high demand, even though the market's tight. If you have a commoditized skill, now I believe you're one of a kind, but if you're a project manager and you're trying to get a job in a different country that requires sponsorship, I would not even attempt it, because it's way too easy for me to walk down the block. Hell, I could walk out my front door and find a project manager. Now, it might not be the best project manager in the world, but the cost that it would include in getting you the visa and sponsorship, all that stuff, is going to far outweigh that. So in that case, if you have a skill that is more easily accessed by employers, then what I recommend is that you try to look for an opportunity or a job in your home country that's an international company that could potentially transfer you to the country that you want to move to. Now, I do recognize that you could be moving for any one of a number of reasons, right? Your husband, your wife, or spouses, partners, whatever, are getting transferred. You got to go. You're going. Doesn't matter, right? And then you're looking and you're trying to get the sponsorship. But I would try those. I would try those things. Shelly, hey, I don't know if it's Millet or Malay. I just entered the verbiage. Too soon to give a compensation number. I have some questions for you into an online form box for salary required. I love that. Fill it in. Who cares? Wendy Bader, my boot camper. I still need to review your story. I have a whole bunch of them that piled up this week and last week. All right, career changer. How to communicate value to avoid being boxed out in a certain role on your cumulative experience. How to get out of the box. Okay, career changer. You're going to go watch my career changer playlist. Don't disappoint me, please. Go do that. How do I want to say this in an endearing fashion to you and everybody? The box is drawn by you. It's not drawn by them. Okay? Remember that. The box that we put on ourselves, we write it. They don't write it. Right? If somebody looked at me and they'd say, Andy, you couldn't come in here and be the chief operating officer of our $500 million company because you're a recruiter or you're an online coach, I would paint them a completely different picture. Right? That's their thinking. It's my job to portray what it is that I can do. Now, it might be more difficult in that interaction if that's what their initial thought is, which is what I'm assuming you mean. But the way that I would articulate the things that I can do would be to challenge them with what their issues are and how I would solve them. So you've got to do your homework as to how your skills transfer to what that company or the companies that you're going to pursue, what the value that they need from you. And then as a career changer, you should be spending 2/3 of your time networking and doing network related activities, as opposed to you can't put your, you could put your resume in, well, let me say it this way. You can't put your resume into an applicant tracking system as a career changer and expect to get hits. It ain't happening, okay? Or if it does, it's, God was watching you that day. But you need to be networking. In order for you to network properly, you need to figure out where you want to go, how you want to get there, and then have your friends or your relatives or your colleagues or your acquaintances help you get there. When you get there, you have to have the stories related to how what you do or have done translates to what it is they need. In order for you to do that, you have to research what it is they need or what they likely need, or generally what companies like that need. So getting out of the box has more to do with you mapping your capabilities to what they need. That's the message. And I would also, career changer, point you to my Master Your Craft Challenge. In the Master Your Craft Challenge, it's a 9-day challenge. Speaking of challenges, I'm full of challenges. Wait, I got 2 challenges. I just told you both of them. Job Search Challenge and this Master Your Craft Challenge. Every single day for 9 days. Okay, so I give you a workbook. I give you a sweet workbook. Every single day for 9 days, you get a video. They're very short. They're 1 minute to 5 minute videos that facilitate a message of how you need to grow your skills. But for you as a career changer, this is the formula to change careers as well. And I probably need to promote this a little more because a lot of people don't access this. Like the career changers wouldn't think Master Your Craft Challenge is what I need. But all you career changers, you go to the Mile Walk Academy, you scroll down the page, there's a set that says challenges, you hit the Master Your Craft, it's a gold and black emblem, you click that, there's a page, opt in, you'll immediately get the workbook. The workbook is written lesson, the link to the video, and then your area to capture notes and a thought provoker of what you need to do in your assignment. Now you can do it in 9 days, or you can do it over the course of a month. But that's what all the career changers, you should be, actually anybody who wants to have a high performing level should take that. But career changers especially, because that's going to help you identify the capabilities that you need, and it's going to get you thinking about what it is you can advertise about yourself, or the capabilities that you need to develop and skills you need to develop in order to make the change. So it was my methodology to transfer from recruiter to opening up this online coaching business as well. So I hope that helps. All right. Let me see. 304 people? You guys are awesome. You really are. I don't know what happened today. I mean, it's just a general Q&A. I got a fever, but I'm feeling okay. I feel like I'm in the groove. All right. Okay, go bind. I think that's how you say your name. My company constantly sends messages to collaborate, but my boss forgets me for 1 by 1, 2 or 3 times. So your boss has forgotten you a few times. You're in a new job. How do I find this is a really collaborative where teammates matter? So the best way I think to handle this, if I'm reading that the right way, I'd go to my boss and I literally would have it out with my boss that, hey, I want to make sure you're including me. I feel like I've got a lot to contribute. If your boss is forgetting, then you just need to remind him or her, right? I don't know if it's a he or she, but that's what I would do. I think when somebody's forgetting, that's just a reminder. That really is just a reminder. All right. Let me see where we at. Sabah, hey, you're welcome. Joseph, you are welcome. Patsy, Francis, hey to you. I'm just zipping down here, looking for the questions. Tiffany, Sweezy, Elkhart, Indiana. My family and I used to spend a couple of weeks of summer at Schwartz Resort, which I'm sure is called something else now, in Elkhart, Indiana. One of the fondest places in my memories. Aretha Gale. Hi, Andy. Would you encourage someone to reapply for a position they interviewed for that has been reposted under a different region? Same JD, just reposted. Aretha, I would not reapply. I would go back to the recruiter that I originally worked with, or a human resources person, or whoever was your point of contact. And then I would ask them, because there's a number of things that have to occur here. If you did not get you interviewed for the job, you did not get the job. So in that case, you want to make sure that that person's going to put a good recommendation in for you. I don't know if you saw my video on how to get the job after being rejected. I would have loved if you would have sent that immediately after you didn't get the role. And then if you see the role in another region, if the company, it doesn't matter if the company's large or small. I'm assuming it's a decent sized company if they've got another region. But I still would want the asset of the person who knows me, who hopefully liked me, to be able to say, hey, we interviewed Aretha. She was great. We just chose this other person because she would really be worth you looking at. That's the way I would go. Natalie Taylor, good stuff. Thanks, Andy, for such detail when answering some of the tougher questions. Well, so folks, when I get your questions, first thing is, I know you need my help. Second thing is, I know how hard it is to get like 200, what do they get, like 200 characters to give me all the information. So I know there's a number of different scenarios, and one of the things I hope you guys recognize about me and the way I like to help you and the way that I like to teach, and this goes for the weekly videos or any clip outs I do from these live shows, and I could give you videos that are a fraction of the amount of time that I spend putting these together and responding to you. But the thing that concerns me about doing the very, very short videos, now don't get me wrong, I like those little quickies, okay? They're fun. But when you have a complicated issue, if you don't understand what's happening in all facets and the psychology behind it and the rationale, you cannot make the adjustments when you have all the information that I don't have as I'm counseling you, that you need to be able to factor that in based on the philosophy, not just what I said I would do, but why I said I would do it that way based on what you shared. So if you get into a situation and now a variable or two or three has changed, you need to have the background in order to know I need to make this adjustment on the fly. Because Andy's not sitting there in my ear telling me, oh, well, in that case, do this. So that's the way that I look at that. And I hope that goes over with you guys. And I'm guessing that it does, right? If you're still here, I can't believe I'm still talking, 85 minutes in, but I want to get a few more of these in. We'll call it an even 90. All right. Let me see. Tiffany Sims. Andy, I had an interview for an IT position the other day. Good for you. The hiring manager told me the next step would be a working interview and that he is most interested in personality. Advice on how to ace that. Interesting. So, Tiffany, I think the best way when we talk about personality is thinking about the cultural characteristics that the organization is interested in because that's what they're looking to hire for. I hope that, and if you haven't done this, I might even take a step to call the recruiter or the HR person and say, I'm excited to meet with the hiring manager. I know that he is interested in my personality traits. I'd love to understand, what you consider the best cultural traits for your company and the different personality traits that you're looking for. And just so that you know what they are, so that you can be mindful of them, so that you can portray those things. Well, empathy could be a trait, right? You're in IT. You're in an IT support position. If you are in an IT support position, I'm more concerned about your empathy demeanor than I am about whether you can fix the thing that's broken, because I almost can't teach you empathy, but I can teach you how to fix the thing, right? So if you're a support person and you don't have empathy, you're not going to be a good support person, because remember, everybody who calls you in support has a problem. All you are here because you have a problem or you have an aspiration. I have to remember that, right? So, and that's just an example. So if you picked up on the cultural traits through your interviewing process, maybe it was up front in your screen, maybe it was with the HR person, maybe it was one of the peers, I don't know where you are in the process. If you don't feel like you know what those cultural traits are, I probably would send an email to the recruiter, or maybe even just call the recruiter and just say, hey, you got a quick 5-10 minutes. I had a question before I go into this. People don't think to do that, but I would do that. I really would. And you would be amazed. Remember this. We tend to forget this. If you are in an interviewing process and the recruiter puts you into an interviewing process, what does the recruiter want? You to take the job. You taking the job, they check that off their list, a gold star for them, they go on to the next assignment, right? So if I'm a recruiter and I've got you in the process, Tiffany, and you're going to go talk to the hiring official, I want to give you all the ammunition that you can have so that you present well, because I want you to get the job. So I'd tell you, well, make sure, the HO is going to be looking for this, this, and this. Just make sure that's on the top of your mind. And that's what I would do. So I think, you can go back and watch all my interviewing videos. You can go back and watch the webinar, the free webinar that I have, 3 Keys to Ace Any Job Interview. You could do all that stuff, but I would rather you pick up the phone or email the recruiter and just ask, what are the most important cultural components, or can you, if you don't have that information. If you've got that information, then I would use that to prepare. All right. Chris Whitpan. Hey, Andy, what have been the best methods you have found for remembering and prepping your stories for common interview questions? I love this. Chris, I know you're a newer boot camper. I talk about, I use memory I call them like, they're like little memory hotels in my head. Okay? So I'm going to give you an example. Today I just kind of showed up and you gave me the question and I give you the answer and I speak from knowledge, right? So this is years of experience talking, right? And it's easy for me to do a Q&A. But I don't always do a Q&A, right? We're going to have a 5 day in a row live sessions where I'm going to teach you for 15 to 20, 30 minutes or whatever. And in that session, that's like me responding to a common interview question. I know that somebody's going to say, Andy, how do I build a target company list? And I need to teach them. So what I do is I think about what is the outline of what I need to tell them. So as an example, when I come to a show, I have to remember that you don't ever see me looking at notes, right? I mean, so even when I might have note cards or whatever, but those are for you, not me. So I think about, okay, I need to welcome them. I need to then tell them what I'm going to tell them. I need to, right? And then I need to let them, say something that will ensure that I have their attention. Then I need to tell them what I'm going to tell them. And then inside what I'm going to tell them, there's 3 pieces and 3 parts to that. Then I need to tell them what mistakes they're going to make and how to avoid those. Then I'm going to need to recap for them. Then I need to say, hey, let's go to Q&A, right? Like, so there's a formula. Now, there is a formula like that for different sections of the types of questions that you are going to answer. Now, if it's a story about your past or a story about your future, let's start there. Okay? So they're going to ask me about something that I did and how I did it. That's a type of question. It's not a common question. That's a question about your background. So you've got those type. Then you've got common interview questions that are not about your background. They're about what occurred in your history. So what do I mean by that? Well, there's questions like, Chris, can you tell me about a time you disagreed with a coworker, right? Or you will get these varieties. So let's divide this. We're going backwards. Chris, how did you do that project? Or Chris, tell me about a time when. I'm going to give you a choice versus I'm going to tell you what choice I want you to tell me about. When you tell them about something they direct you on your resume, if it's a project that requires any length in you responding, Chris, I saw you did that customer relationship management system that you implemented, whatever, right? Tell me about how you did that project. There's a script for that. First thing is I got to tell them what the business problem is. Second thing is I got to tell them what the players were. Third thing I got to tell them is how I assembled it. Fourth thing I got to tell them is about what I did, then what the outcome was, and so on and so forth. There's a script to that, okay? That script is your career achievements journal, okay? You've got access to that. If they ask you to tell them about a time when, this is a different type of question. This is a question that is going to have lots of variability in the specifics that you're going to tell them, right? Everybody's encounter when they had a disagreement with a coworker is going to be different. Okay, when I get situations like that where there's so much variability, I know my formula is this. Number 1, tell them what my philosophy is. Number 2, tell them what happened. Number 3, tell them what I learned. Always those 3 things. What do I mean by that? Well, I just got done explaining this to somebody about, and I think I used that as an example. But if they say, Andy, tell me about a time when you disagreed with somebody, before I actually get to the disagreement, I'm going to tell them my philosophy about disagreeing. Because that levels them and it neutralizes whether they like or don't like your story. So there's a formula. So the first thing is, well, great, I'm happy to tell you that story. But the first thing that I want to tell you about the disagreements is my philosophy on disagreements. So I think that any time that ever occurs, it doesn't occur much with me, but anytime it occurs, here's how I handle it. And then you give them the generic response. Then you say, okay, so now with that in mind, here's a specific situation. Here's exactly how we handled it. Boom, boom, boom. And then, but this is what I really learned. And that's your formula all the time. That's the past stuff. The future stuff is okay, we've got this scenario. How would you handle it, right? These are, and some of you who really follow me, you know that I always talk about whenever you get asked something in the past, you want to shift it to the future because it's more important for you to tell them how you're going to behave in their environment than it is to tell them about what you did 10 years ago in some other environment. Okay, so we're moving into the future. They say, hey, Chris, we got this situation where there's a problem with the customer. There's this woman she's never happy with anything that we do. How would you handle a situation like that? Okay. First thing is my philosophy on whenever I have customer related issues. So philosophy first. Then what I would do is here's how I would organize that. Before you tell them the organization part, you need to tell them how many components you're going to tell them. So there's something called priming and framing when you're going to tell a story to somebody who doesn't know what you're going to say. So that they listen better and so that it's easier for them to hang on to what you're saying, you want to tell them, so whenever I get in a situation like that, there's always 3 things that we need to do. There's always 5 things that we need to do. Whenever I get in a situation with the customer, here's my philosophy. I know they're upset, so I want to be empathetic. Number 2, I want to make sure that I resolve their problem as quickly as possible. Number 3, so on. So anytime I get into a situation with a particular customer, there's these 3 things I go into. So now that I just laid that down for you, there's 3 things. So in that particular case, here's what I would do. Boom, boom, boom. And they know that there's 3 parts. They know that there's 5 parts. And they're not going to interrupt you. And they're going to remember, oh, he's got one more. He's got one more. Or something like that. So you always want to make sure that you're doing that. And if you jot down the finite number of scenarios that you can go through, you can put those little outlines together for you. So I know that I always need to react that way when I get that type of question. By the way, what I said might sound complicated. It's not. You either get to tell a story about something you did. You either have to pick a choice from the common scenarios that they give you. And folks, I've given you all the scripts for those. It's in, where is it? Chapter 6. 14 most common interview questions, why they get asked, what they're looking for, 43 variations of them, and the scripts. So you've got that, so you can break your own down, but break everything down according to your outline. And then when you go forward, you want to make sure you're telling them philosophy, how many stages, fill in the stages, and so forth. That's how I would do that. That's gold. You will never be caught off guard, ever, when you do that. And it comes automatic. I mean, this is stuff. It's really awesome. When we, in the boot camp, boot campers can a la carte buy a coaching session. When they get a coaching session, inevitably, a number of them are usually enrolling in those coaching sessions when they've got key interviews that are coming up, or they're negotiating their salaries, or they're negotiating multiple salaries, or whatever. That's just what they tend to do, right? There's all the framework. The framework gets them all the interviews and all that good stuff, but some of them just want to do that. That's awesome. When I prep with these folks, a lot of times what they'll do is they'll come to me with these questions. Like I had one last night or night before with somebody who wanted just to make sure it's a big time job and a big time company, and it's pretty awesome. And he just wanted to make sure his scripts were down. And we went through the outlines. You always need to include these things when you're talking about leadership, when you're talking about management, when you're talking about this, when you talk about style, when you're talking about expectations, when you're talking about all that stuff. And the outlines are the same. It's just filling in the different points. When you know the outline, then it's easier to remember what you have to put there in those slots. But that's how I do it. So, that's when people give speeches, that's how they do that. You're giving a speech every time. It's just you're giving a speech to these, age-old questions. So I hope that helps. I probably really went overboard there. All right. Hi, Andy. Would have been the best. Oh, that was you. The Coach Ruth in 4 parts. Oh, God. Interested in working for a specific international company. Their careers portal allows only one resume to be uploaded. They have dozens of positions. Okay, Ruth, where this is going. So I'm going to give you 2 answers. I'm not going to read through all that other stuff. I'm going to give you 2 answers. So Ruth's got multiple opportunities at the same company. They only want her to submit the resume once. You pick the one you're the strongest for. You go there. Or what I'd really rather you do is you find somebody in the organization, you chum up with them, and you say, hey, there's a number of positions. I'd be open to any of these, and you network your way in. So that's how I would handle that. Let's see. All right, let me see if I can try to get a few more in here, folks. I know there's a lot, 350 of you here. That's just fantastic. I'm trying to get as many of these as I can. By the way, let me say this as I'm looking for some of these, to give you my responses. If I don't get to your question on these live shows, so I don't take these live shows down, at least not these. Just go to the comment section immediately when we're done and put your question in there. And I want to help you, right? You're here. You spent time with me. You're engaging in my stuff. I want to help you. So I try to answer all of those. I mean, I'd like you to be subscribed to the channel, but I try to answer them. So do that. And then if I don't get to it, for next week, we got Thursday live office hours. You can try that. Or if you're in one of my programs, you can go into the boot camp or the interview intervention course or whatever it is, and put it there. But I do want to help you. So, but if I miss you, hit me in the comments. Landry, I think that's, is that next? Maybe, hang on. Oops. Dang, hang on. Okay, here we go. Sorry. Christy. Hi, Andy. Target company just posted an opening. Better to contact a third-party recruiter I'm connected with who is advertising the job? Yes, 100% final answer. Nobody is going to give you a better advantage than a third-party recruiter who can prep you, work with you, get you the insider knowledge, unless you have a best buddy or like an old colleague that you worked with. That would also be an option, but you're not going to get the prep. You're not going to get the inside track, or at least not as much as you would with a recruiter, a good recruiter, that is. All right. Sabah, negotiating salary. Check my salary negotiation playlist. The egalitarian part has nothing to do with that. You are getting paid based on the value you show them you're going to bring. Sunflowers love, we don't get this one a lot. How long should someone who has a history of job hopping stay at a new job, been there since April, that they really don't like, has no room for growth, not enough money, want to relocate to a new area? My school of thought on this is I put my happiness above all else. If you're miserable, go and look. Go look right. You're looking, you're obviously here. And if you got a company that's willing to, take you on, even though you've only been there, 6 months, go do it. Worry about your next problem later. That's my view. Final answer. Christy, are third-party recruiters reluctant to submit candidate currently in a 4-year gap, match in specific skill set and industry for open job post? So, Christy, I'm not reluctant as a recruiter to do that if you have the goods, and I want to understand the 4-year gap. If you, I don't know, stay-at-home mom, you elderly parent, children, whatever. I don't care. We've presented people who have been in between, maybe not that long, but in between. So I would be networking like crazy if I was you, too. Phyllis. Hey, a boot camper. How are you? Charlene, hey, new here. Can we all give Charlene a big hug? Just wanted to know if you have any advice about starting your own business, to how to make a business plan. I do. Charlene, there are many, many components that you need to include in a business plan. I honestly, and I can run through all of them. You gotta have research on the market. You gotta know if whatever you're offering is in demand. Okay, so I don't know what you're opening, if it's a services business or a product business. You're gonna put different parts of the plan together if it's a services business and it's just you, right? Or that you're gonna build it out. Or if it's a product business, you're gonna have to have a much different structure to it. But to be honest with you, I would Google business plans. You will get tons of outlines out there. You can assemble it. If you're doing this for yourself and your own benefit, you'll be able to see which sections you need to fill in. If you are going to try to go and get a loan, that's going to be a whole different story. And it does get more and more complicated. But there's many, many examples out there. John sent 7, got 3. I love that. Going for a batting chance. Wait, indulge me. 2 big smiley faces. I love it. You're batting .429. And John, let us not under-advertise your level of proficiency with that. As a matter of fact, I'm grabbing it all. Crack me up. All right. John Mulkerin, hey, what do I do to get started on a job search? I feel totally lost. John, not to be funny, if anybody is feeling like this, my job search bootcamp is start here, do this first, do this second, do this third, and so on. I understand if you don't, you can't swing it or you don't want to get in or whatever, or you're just totally overwhelmed. The first place that I would go if you want to do something free is I would start with my video about how to choose the right job for you. That will get you dialed in correctly. It will get you identifying your requirements, and then I would take it from there. The most important thing about that is I want you to know where you want to go and the types of jobs that you want to pursue before you pursue them. And even if you know what types of jobs you want to pursue, before you pursue them, I want you to make sure that you have the criteria by which you are going to evaluate whether these employers or these jobs or these roles or companies are good for you. That's why I want you to start there. Start there, one step at a time. All right. Eva, you're welcome. Sabah, all the best to Eva too. Let me see, how we doing on time? 1:45. Landry, I think that's next. Carrot, keep me honest. I hope I'm not missing anybody. With an internship experience in finance, how can I make it about career highlights when applying online by email? Should the motivation letter be the email content or attachment? Landry, I'm not sure. If you are a student, recent student, you could use the collegiate resume template. If you just happen to have an internship a while back that was some time ago before you graduated and you are now well on your way and a professional, I don't know that I would use internships as highlights. You might want to put in the career profile that you have experience or exposure to finance through an internship. All right. Let's see. John's got a question. As someone who has reviewed many resumes, do you care if there is a personal brand statement? I do not. I would prefer not to see it. 15 to 17 words that set you apart from everyone else. John, first off, thank you for being such an active and engaged follower and member of the Mahawk Academy. This is a fantastic question, and I appreciate questions like this because I then get a chance to share with you what's really going through the head of a recruiter or a reviewer or what people care about. I don't care about the brand statement. All I need to know, these are the most important elements, and I've talked about this in how to write the perfect career profile. So there's a video out there that I've done that you can look at. I need your noun and your verb. That's it. I coach people. That's what I do. I'm a career coach. That's my noun, my verb, my adjective, whatever you want. Okay? That's all I need to know about you. You're a salesperson. You're a marketer. You're a product developer. You're a project manager. You're whatever. That's it. You could talk to me all you want about all the flowery stuff. I don't need to see that in the resume. I need to see what you did. So in that career profile, give me your noun and your verb. Then give me, who you did it for and who benefited. Give me one of your items that you accomplished. Major, we're talking roll-up, sold and managed, secured new business, developed new products, 400 of them, whatever it is. That's what sets you apart. And then I get to substantiate it through the review of the rest of the body of your resume. And that happens so fast you wouldn't believe it. So I don't want to read a brand statement because I don't even read the brand statement, and I would never read 15 words in a row. So wait, that's really important for you guys to recognize. I open the resume. I'm looking for the noun and the verb. I want to find it in the upper left-hand corner. I then go to the middle of the paragraph and I'm looking to see what types of companies or industries or whatever. Then I want to know what your accomplishment. That's all I'm looking for. I skip over, like I have you put the core competencies in up high, but I expect that I would gloss over those because I would expect that list would be what I would expect it to be. I would expect a senior project manager's core competency list to talk about planning, risk management, team management, so on and so forth, right? So I'm zipping down from that. Then I'm going to the highlights and I'm looking. That's going to set you apart. Not the brand statement. Noun, verb, that's it. And then I move on. Keep that in mind. And also, there's this thing in writing called the motor to weight ratio. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. But basically, it's the power words that you use that somebody anchors on and holds, and then all the flowery crap that you add that fogs it up. If your motor to weight ratio if it's high, you've got a lot of power in it. If it's low, you don't, meaning you got a lot of fluff. When you put a brand statement together, you have 12 words of fluff, and you got 2 to 3 words that have power in it. Okay? So that's what you got to remember. And so opinion words in your resume. Now, not that the brand statement would have opinion words in it, but when you start adding words to your resume about your energy and your detail and, aggressive deadlines, and that's all flour and crap that the recruiter skips over. And as a matter of fact, actually, it has more detriment than it has benefit. Because when I'm looking and my eyes are scanning this is a key point that everybody needs to understand. Don't worry about the recruiter picking up what the recruiter needs. If you put in the right noun, verbs, keywords, and so forth, when a recruiter opens up a resume, the recruiter is looking for what the recruiter wants to see, not what you want to write. Does that make sense? So if I'm looking for a salesperson, for my hiring official who's the VP of sales, I'm looking for certain things that I'm trying to find in your resume. I'm not reading your resume. I'm looking for senior salesperson. We're a CRM software company. Is CRM in there? Is Salesforce automation in there? Is customer relation? Is that in there? Okay, where are the numbers? That's how a resume is read. A resume is read in context of the position I'm searching for or positions that I would generally need to search for in my company. Think about that. Don't be you, be me, meaning be the recruiter. That's really important. So you might want to share your brand statement or even your elevator pitch, right? I teach you how to write that. That's for, hey, I'm a career coach. I help people that are all over the world, right? I have people in it. Like, that's for conversation, okay? So for the resume, think about what they're doing and you're not there to explain it. That's really important. I cannot stress this enough. Recruiters open the resume and look for what they want to find, not what you want to tell them. So that's why when people say, well, I'm worried if the recruiter's going to find it. The recruiter will find it. If it's on the page, they'll find it. So this might be the most important thing I've said, and I'm glad we kept going because that's the most important thing I've said today, for sure. Don't let it hurt your head. I'm glad I got that in there. Jeff McDonald, how are you? Jeff, spell it out. Awesome question. So Jeff is asking when I referred back to the months, October, July, January, spell them out. That's great. Jamala, I don't know. Headhunter called me before a week to send my CV to her, but until now she has not called me back. Common stuff, it occurs. You never know where it fell in the priority. I don't know if your CV was maybe not what they were looking for. Million things. Shuo, no need to call me Mr. LaCivita. You can call me Andy. You don't even need to call me Andrew. No one does. So far, I have 7 years work experience with going back to school in between. Can I still include 2 summer internships I did? Yes. Yes. For sure. You have a rather unique suite of stuff. And so if you could do a couple things, since it's only 7 years, and And by the way, 7 years is nothing to sneeze at. I mean, if you got 7 years of work experience, you could say, 2015 to present, there's 4, in between, 2013 and 14 that you were in school, you could leave it and gap it. You can actually go to your career profile. At the end of your career profile, you can say, performed 2 summer internships during 2007 and 2008. Wow. And it's something like that. But there's a lot of ways to play around with that. All right, folks, 300. Can we get 400 people here? 384. I love this. All right, we're just going to keep rolling. Sometimes you just got to go to the party and stay late. By the way, can we all give Kara a big shout out? Do you have any idea that none of this, I'm serious, would be possible without her? I mean that. Please give her kudos. I know a lot of you, you've exchanged emails with her, or when they come from support, lots of times they're coming from her. Believe me, she really is on top of stuff. I'm just zipping down here. Look, Kara got you the executive level interviewing tips. Radio FM 420. Hey, Andy, I'm in the environmental field where we have health and safety certifications and professional memberships. Love it. Is it okay to add a section for this after education? Yes, absolutely. Folks, my resume template is a guideline. It's a guideline. Some of you have lots of skills and certifications. What I would do in those cases, radio FM, take those of you that are just littered with letters after, your name. Take the most powerful ones, and by most powerful ones, most powerful can mean this was really an achievement, or this is the one the company's looking for, even though it's not my most potent achievement. And bring them forward into the career profile and say, certified in Cisco, voice, blah, 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 and whatever. And then you can, at the bottom, write CCNA, CCNP, CCVP, whatever it is, right? You could do it that way. And in your case, you have safety. I've actually, by the way, have reviewed resumes from people in the environmental safety arena. They were engineers in Texas or whatever. Had tons of those things. It was awesome. We just had a section at the bottom with all the stuff that he'd accomplished. Like 30 years he'd been working. So about my age. Tina, do you have a video about CV? How does it work? What's included? So if you're asking me about the CV specifically, meaning the CV style resume that is generally used in academic professions, medical professions, legal professions, that kind of stuff, I did not do a video on that. There's tons of CVs out there, templates you can go grab. Essentially, it's my resume with a publications section, a researching section, a collaboration section, if you've been doing that with other doctors, professors, and whatever. I don't have a video specific to that. I do have the Build Your Ultimate Professional Resume video, which is more commercial based, but that's what I have out there. Jeff McDonald, great to have you. Go to the resume playlist, Jeff. It's there. You know what? The boot camp, I'm telling you guys, one last plug for the boot camp today. It is really, really helpful, and I understand that $500, $600, whatever it is a lot of money, okay? But when you think in terms of the amount of time it's going to save, the level of organization to it, do this first, do this second. When you talk about the ongoing coaching, you get to come back to all the live sessions forever and ever. You get to keep it for life. You get the enhancements for life. You get the career development stuff if you get in now. All of this stuff. And think about, I talk about this, right? If you earn $100,000 in a year, you earn about $50 an hour. That's about one day and a morning. And if you're going to tell me that I not only can't help you find your job one day faster, but that through better targeting, better interviewing, better negotiation, that I can't make that up in the negotiation alone, I think it's really short-sighted. I do. Now, everybody's got their own unique situation. I have to determine as a business owner when I'm going to put dollars into advertising and all of that good stuff, right? But I look at all those things as a long-term investment, and I always feel that if you're going to spend $500, spend it on your career, spend it on your life, spend it on enhancements. That's an investment. Think about how many lattes that is. Think about how many, right? I mean, I genuinely believe that, you know, you're going to get the support, you're going to get the help, you're going to get the organization, you're going to get a lot more than you ever imagined. There's not one person in the history of the boot camp, that's like almost 5,000 people, that has ever come back to me and said, this wasn't enough. I didn't have enough. I didn't have what I needed. It just doesn't happen. It just doesn't. It's there for you. Okay, we're coming up on 2 hours. 379 people still here. I don't know if that's a typo, but God love you all. I got a boot camp session tomorrow. If you want to get in and join us for that, email support@milewalk.com. We'll give you the $100 off. We'll get you the Career Accelerator too. I'm back. I'm off Tuesday, and I'm back Thursday with a live session like this. Then I got a boot camp on Friday. Then the following week, we go into the Job Search Challenge. So sign up for that. It's going to be a great program. I'm like giddy. I'm so stoked about that damn thing, because that's job searching, what we're going through that week. And whether you're in the boot camp or not. One other thing. The Job Search Challenge is, I'm not leaving that up on, actually we're going to do it in Zoom, so I'm not leaving it up. But if you do join the boot camp, you're also getting that whole package that you'll have in your boot camp as well. So that's another little tidbit. All right, 395 people. All right, all of you, I gotta go get some rest. I can't thank you enough for being here with me. I love doing this stuff. I hope this helped. If I didn't get to your question, put it in the comment section. I'll do my dang best. I'm gonna be working all weekend because I'm pulling all that stuff together for you. So I'm gonna be in and out of those comments, and I'll try to get to you and get you some help. And if not, then hopefully I'll see you next week, or maybe even in the boot camp tomorrow. All right, you guys be great. I'll see you.